Hello, everybody. We're back. I realize my book is across the room, but that's fine. We're back to talk about City of Dragons. We only have one book left after this, too.
Yeah.
So, hello. Give everyone a minute to hop in. So, how did this go? Did everyone finish?
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, I finished. I told you I finished.
Yes.
I finished a full 3 hours before the live show. So
Yay!
Amazing.
Yeah.
And I
this is one of
actually
the
finished
shorter
it after
books,
Jade. I actually finished it after Jade this time.
Oh, wow.
So.
Wow.
I beat her.
You guys trade bodies?
So, what did everyone think?
I enjoyed it.
I also enjoyed it. I think this is my favorite so far in this series.
Me
in this
too.
little series. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is my favorite so far too.
Yeah. Overall, it's still like 4 stars. Like, I think overall this series is like a 4-star series for me. But if I had to rank each of the 3 books that I read so far, I would say this one, and then the first one, and then the second one. Yeah.
I would agree.
I gave it a 4 star.
Same.
So,
Same.
yeah, overall.
Yeah, I think I would give it, like, used to do a lot of like rounding when I was making videos. I would make this a 4.5 that I would round up to a 5. Like, it was, yeah, because I enjoyed it so much more than the previous 2. I think I want to make it like stand out. So I would rate it a little bit higher, but I don't know if it's necessarily like a brand new favorite, you know?
Yeah. I gave it a 5, but 5s are not necessarily favorites for me either. So
yeah,
I rate
exactly.
Higher, so yeah, similar. Yeah, I would say, I would say like book 1 was like a 4.5, maybe rounded up for me, and then book 2 was like 3.5, 4.
Solid
Like
4
I liked
for
it.
me.
Solid,
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, I really liked this one. So,
and I'm really excited for the next one with the way it ended.
Me too.
Things are finally coming together.
Ramped up.
Yeah.
The stakes get ramped up in this.
Mm-hmm.
And we get some characters returning, which was very interesting.
Yeah. I wasn't expecting that. It was a nice surprise, and especially in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Those points of view.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I guess this one, you guys like this one better because there was a lack of traveling.
That's true.
I mean, the traveling was never an issue for me.
I like traveling, so
I just like how for this one there were like a lot more politics going on too, which is like I feel like always what I love about Hobb's series.
I can see that.
And also, I don't know if this is accurate, but it felt like there were more dragons, like more time with the dragons. I don't know if that's just more because they're doing dragon things now compared to before they weren't. I don't know. But for some reason, it felt like we had a lot more dragon stuff happening. I don't know. Was that just me?
Got their like
technically,
too.
Especially in the beginning, definitely more dragon things happening. But I also think there was a lot less dragon complaining and whining.
Yeah,
so
that's what I
made them all like a little more likable,
more interesting.
I also think that the titular city is very interesting. That I thought was so cool. Like all the stuff where it like came back to life and these like hot baths and everything. I was like, this sounds great.
That sounds sounded like
and the bed, the comfortable bed.
Yes.
The way they describe
like itself to you, that's great.
Yeah, the way they described like how the city came to life. We're talking full spoilers, right? Like I feel like I always have to like make sure. But like the way like the city started to light up from where they were, I could just imagine like one of those movie scenes at like an amusement park or like a carnival or something when someone like just turned on the light and like everything slowly like like radiates out.
It totally made me think about the animated movie Anastasia. That's like one of my favorite movies from my childhood. And there is a scene where she like is kind of remembering something from her childhood, but she doesn't remember that, and she like sees ghosts and they're like dancing around and stuff.
Oh,
and I always think about that when I see the elderling stuff where they like come to life and have like live in the memories or whatever. It reminds me of that scene from that movie.
So since we are like full spoilers, I feel like I missed, and maybe because I didn't really read the last of the live ship triggers, but I don't remember them talking about being drunk in the memories before.
Yeah, they definitely talked about it because they were worried that Rain was going to lose himself in the memories because that's how their dad died.
Yeah. Well, and then there's a lot more on that in the short story collection.
That's
as well.
Okay.
So there was a lot more background on like touching the walls and getting lost in their memories there too.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
Yeah. But that makes
I really like that short story.
I wonder how that works. I guess you think maybe it fades over time, because thinking about, what's his name? The black dragon they found in the south.
Nice fire.
Yeah, and that whole elderling city under the ice didn't really seem to have that. But maybe because it was
it was an intentional thing. So it was a thing that they made on purpose in some places. So it's also possible that that city wasn't doing that. I don't know. But I did think it was interesting, the idea that like in some way elderlings and dragons were designed to better withstand those memories.
Yes, that was an interesting idea.
It was interesting.
Well, but I don't know how much I believe it yet, just because
who was saying it?
Well, who was saying it, and like he had trouble snapping out of it. Like he seemed kind of out of it. Yeah, I don't know if I believe it yet, but it is an interesting idea.
Yeah.
I just think like the parallels between dragons and elderlings make a lot more sense that way, because like the dragons, they have their ancestral memories, and then it just makes sense for like the elderlings to be able to inherit that from their ancestors as well.
Yeah, so they can better serve the dragons. Like I could totally see the dragons being like, yes, figure out some way to imbue the bricks of your city so that your future children know how to serve me.
Yeah. Well, and maybe it has something to do with the dragons, right? Like you can only become an elderling if you have some sort of connection to a dragon. There's a dragon around. And so they maybe provide like an immunity through their bond or something. I don't know.
But then that's the thing. I don't think it's necessarily an immunity. It's like they made this for specific humans that they helped change into elderlings. They didn't think about other human beings someday coming across, you know, the bones of their leftover city and falling into their memories.
True, there were humans too back then. Not everybody was an elderling.
But I don't think that it was like the elderlings and the dragons kind of made this as an immunity thing, or put in something that made the elderlings immune to.
Yeah, well, I was more thinking that just like having a bond with a dragon is what's like providing the. It's just I don't know.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was cool. Like
the
whole thing with the face. Although cool. I thought it was really sketchy that he was trying to use that to like get her to sleep with him. And
I don't know how I felt about that.
And then Tats was like all disappointed, like, oh man, you chose.
I don't care about Tats.
I was in Tats, so I was sad.
Nah, Tats. I felt like he still wasn't getting it. He's like, oh, so she chose him.
Neither one of them are
like,
getting
have you been like here this whole time?
Like, because they think it's an ownership thing, and she's like, no.
Yeah.
Or like now, like they're still like, oh, she chose me or she chose him, and it's just like,
No.
Even without the memories, I'm like, she already said she's not choosing. And now
Right?
Tats just sounds like, oh man, I didn't get to take her virginity, which is gross.
Oh,
Because
it
what,
just
she
gives
can't
me
have sex after this? Like, she's broken all of a sudden? Let me stop.
Yeah, gross. No.
Oh yeah, it's gross.
Mm-mm.
Boys.
Tess is like, I was her friend and I did all these things. Now I've been friend zoned.
I thought it was
Like,
good that he went to
bro.
Carson, like, with his feelings. But then he was gross afterwards, so.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if Carson winds up being like the older brother advice figure, relationship advisor?
I love how he was like, you came to us for advice about women. Like, do you not see?
But they're
that we
happy.
are here?
Yeah, exactly.
You know who
I
we
mean,
didn't really
in that sense,
see?
it's smart because it's not that much different, except the girls can get pregnant.
Yeah. Well, you know who we didn't see almost at all, I don't think, in this book was a perspective of and now, of course, his name is escaping. The one everyone doesn't like, y'all don't like.
Cedric?
Or a lot of people don't.
Oh,
Cedric.
Yeah.
Like, he was, like, basically not in this book. What was he
I feel
doing?
like his
Well,
character
because
journey
yeah.
has like is complete now.
I mean, I don't think
But we
so.
got some
have a little
other
bit-
new POVs, which was
We did, which we
interesting.
should talk about. That's why you liked the book, Renee. I know, Renee is a Cedric hater.
But
Before we get into the other POV,
Renee, can we agree that Hess is worse? Like, there are levels.
Hest is
And I'm not
100%
saying that Cedric is good. I'm just saying there are levels of bad.
Listen,
And I think Hess is worse.
Hest is awful.
sorry, before we get
It's
into
interesting.
Hess, since we were talking about the city, okay, when I was reading, I was like, this is the city, this has to be the city that Fitz visited in the end of Assassin's Quest.
Oh yeah, when he was walking.
I
was
don't
that the
remember
end
the
or the
scene
beginning?
well
Yeah. And then Elise, she went to that tower and she saw like someone vandalized this place. Someone broke the windows.
Yeah.
It was, and then she thought it was Rascal, but it was Fitz.
It was Fitz.
You're blowing
Yeah.
my mind.
Oh
Oh
my
my God.
I didn't remember.
Good job.
What did Fitz do?
He went through the skill pillar.
Yes.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I don't remember like exactly when, but he went through the skill
Yeah, and it
pillar
took
and
him
he
like
got
different
transported
places.
to this. Yeah, and then I think this was also the place where Fool wasn't at the place, but he had a vision of this place of like him as the girl with the rooster crown, etc., etc. I don't, and the details are fuzzy, but I remember he climbed the tower for some reason, and they needed warmth or something.
Oh.
Makes
I
me
don't
want to go back
remember.
and
I
reread
just
that
remember
part.
him walking up the river and through past the Rain Wilds and all of that stuff. And I remember when you said it, like he came across the city, but I
really
remember
cool.
what he did
that's
there.
a really
Yeah.
good catch because I didn't put that together. But
I
you're
had
right.
a feeling when they were talking about the city and like the memories and stuff, but it didn't get confirmed for me until she went to the tower, and I'm like, I know Fitz did that. He has no regard for.
I didn't
this
remember the tower at all, but they see a statue or there's a vision of the girl with the crown, and so I remembered that, but I just thought maybe they both had visions. Like I didn't. If I had remembered the tower, I might have put that together. But I did recognize them talking about the figure that was the fool or whatever.
That's so fascinating. I figured it was something because why are we harping on and on about this stupid broken window? Like I get it, Elise, but still.
Well, now we know
sure that Rascal has done plenty of other things and been plenty of other places, but this broken window.
He's like, really it wasn't me.
This must be something. This must be something. Someone else did this.
obviously I was super excited when I read that. It was my favorite part of this book.
Good job, Christy.
Yeah, seriously, that's amazing.
When the news gets back to like the where Fitz is at, he's gonna be just like, oh, been there, done that. Oh, Kelsingra, that's what that was.
Yeah.
The city is so cool, though. I can't wait to see more of it in the next book.
Same. It is really cool.
Renee. Okay, he has never pretended to be something.
Best friend and literally. Wait, what? You think this is where? No, ma'am. It is
He
not
didn't
worth.
pretend to be her
Yeah,
best.
you don't be saying
So,
Cedric.
he was a bad
Are you
friend.
kidding me? No. Oh
He was a bad friend, but I don't think he pretended to be her best friend.
no. Okay.
Each his own, I guess.
I guess so. Hest is terrible. I think it's interesting though that his dad clearly knows what's up.
Mhm.
That man is gonna be so disappointed.
His mom's clueless, but his dad seems to know.
His dad seems to know.
But that Chalcidian dude who like roughed him up, he's scary.
Yeah.
He like sliced him up and then also tried to poison him.
Yeah,
that was hilarious.
It wasn't real. He was like, you're not really gonna die. You're just gonna feel sick for a little while. That was so.
Vicious.
It was like it was such a weird mix of being like kind of satisfying because it's Hest, but also
so being like crazy.
You know what this is gonna do to other people we do like.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I thought that scene was so hilarious, especially the part where he like literally crawled to the other guy and started licking his boot, and I was like, man, this guy, he
satisfying.
No,
the guy is like, you like to feel like you're in charge and dominating people, but I'm gonna show you you're really not the one in charge here. And I'm like, I mean, I kind of like that.
Yeah, he was vicious, man.
He was.
I mean, when your family is being held hostage, the Duke,
and then the Emperor or whoever he is, like eating this guy's body to heal himself.
Yeah.
Yes, it was Selden's like.
Oh yeah,
shoulder.
so that was the other
like his shoulder.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I was so confused about Selden. Did we know he was missing? Like, I got to his POV and I was like, what is going on?
Yeah,
from this first Rain Wild Chronicles, nobody knew where he's at. Like, he went south and then they hadn't heard from him. And
I thought I had forgotten what happened to him. And then, like, later in that same chapter, he, like, tells us that he was kidnapped or whatever. And so it was really funny because this whole time, because that was like pretty late in the book that it's like revealed like what happened to him and how he got to where he is. We just kept getting snippets of him being like tortured and stuff. And I was like, what happened to him? I don't remember how he like got in this situation.
Because we were never told.
I
think
didn't
it was
realize
just mentioned before that he was gonna go do some stuff away for Tintaglia, but we don't know like what actually happened to him.
Yeah.
Tintaglia dropped him like a hot potato to go chase off her dragon man. And
and the dragon man is not being that great to her now, is he?
No, it's an arranged marriage.
It is.
They're with each other.
Marriage of convenience.
I'm like, Tintaglia, I think you need to like take off and go back and just do your own thing.
Well, now she got the arrow in her wing.
Sorry. I do think it's really interesting that he's the only. I was about to call him a dinosaur. Liam is obsessed with dinosaurs.
I mean, he is a dinosaur. He's so old,
and he was frozen in the ice.
Yeah, but he's the only dragon that remembers like actually being alive during the time of the Elderlings. So I don't know. He either needs to stick around so we can learn about that, or somebody needs to kill him and another dragon eat him just so that we can have those memories. Because I want to know more about the time of the Elderlings.
That's what I was thinking. Like, might happen. Like, he's probably gonna die, and then all the other dragons are gonna like share in
share
his
him so they
flesh.
all have the memories. That's a good idea.
So at this point, do you think the dragons in Kelsinger are stronger than he is?
No,
No way.
not at
But
all.
maybe it could be.
Maybe eventually. I mean, they're getting stronger. I do think it's so interesting, this thing of them being in heated water helps them grow.
Yeah. So I think that in the next book, all or a lot more of the dragons are going to go to Kelsingra and like grow and get stronger.
Yeah.
So it makes sense why when they were staying in Trahog or the Trahog or Kasarek that they were in Kasarek, right?
Yeah.
That they were continue to be like so weak
because they were in like a cold, toxic river.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were always wet. They were cold, and they weren't getting enough food. That's another big thing.
Yeah.
So, and then they weren't moving around. It's like, people, when you don't, when you're not active, you don't grow. They had to like that whole trip upriver trying to find food for themselves, and moving and all of that stuff helps.
Well, and also the idea that like once they can fly, they're going to be able to hunt a lot more food than what their keepers are providing.
Yeah.
And that like accelerates their growth too.
Did anybody else worry about them like going through like messing with the ecosystem and like eating all the large prey? I kept thinking that. I was like, how is there going to be enough animals to feed all these dragons for so long with how much they eat?
Yeah, that's very true.
I
that's something they think, but no, I wasn't thinking about that.
I mean, I guess
I thought about that a little.
Also, it used to be a city for dragons, so I assume there were more than this handful of baby dragons, essentially.
But it's also, as like real dragons, they're supposed to be able to fly like farther
Really
distances.
far.
Like before, they wouldn't just like hunt game in this little area. They would go like all different areas.
Also, some of their memories.
So at the end of our last show, we were talking about like Centaura learning to fly. And Lachette, you are like, I bet she's gonna fall on her face, which she did.
And
then she eventually learned how to fly. But then I was also thinking, like, I don't think she suffered enough for Lachette to be satisfied with this.
No, I just wanted her to fall on her face right then. Like, it's fine. She's been secretly practicing at night because she's embarrassed. I'm just like, woman, please. She doesn't want anybody to see her.
I had a highlight where it's like she'd have to kill them. That was all. Kill them before either one could humiliate her. And then I wrote a comment. I was like, girl, BFFR.
Exactly. Literally nobody cares that much about you and your flying.
No, not at all.
But speaking of her though, I found it interesting, that whole like little tussle with the male dragons and her towards the beginning. I was like, oh, this is mirroring poor Baimara's situation as well.
Yeah.
Maybe she'll be a little more understanding. Because these guys are like, oh yes, once you can fly, then you'll be my mate and whatnot.
And she's like, excuse you.
Exactly. Same situation, but you were like ignoring Baimara, like, this is ridiculous. Just pick one. And
I don't know. I mean, I think she seemed supportive of Thaimara saying none. She was like, yeah, that's right. You're here to serve me. You don't have time for that. Yeah. We should talk about Malka, because we get her back.
Yeah.
That was a fun storyline. That's probably my favorite storyline in this book.
Oh, really?
That was intense.
Just because it was intense, mostly.
You said fun, and I was like,
I was like, literally, I was like, oh my god, you're having your baby and pretending you haven't had the baby yet to like say, I was like,
Why
talk about traumatic birth experience.
Right. They're trying to figure out what they want to do. I'm just like, how do you kidnap somebody without a plan and then decide after they're kidnapped, let me ask somebody else what our plan should be? I was like, this is not going to work out for them.
Yeah, I finished reading that scene, and I was just like, man, Malta is a badass. Like, that was amazing.
So much. I don't remember what she was like. Like, I didn't remember what she was like at the end of Live Ship. I only remember what she was like in the beginning. And I remember I hated her so much. But now she's so awesome.
She grew up a lot. And yeah.
And I also love her and Rain's relationship. They're just like so supportive of each other. Like,
I was gonna say it was very cute, them talking about like reminiscing about how they met, and like from my point of view and Malta's point of view at the time, and then like we get a little more of Rain's point of view now, and he's like just amused at her youthful ridiculousness.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
but I was so stressed for that baby. I didn't know what was going to happen.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Well, and when she went down to the ship and I knew like that the other people were up in the trees, I was like, they're not going to run into each other. Like, what's going to happen? I was freaking out.
I'm glad the ship can like keep. It's funny. The ship is almost like a magical NICU.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I thought that too. Yeah.
Like a little incubator.
Yeah. And I just love the way that it like brings. So one of my favorite parts about fantasy or any book really is like where characters get separated and they come back together. And I love seeing how like the plot pieces fall into place for them to physically have to be back in the same place together. So like that was what happened in this book. And it just made me like, I love how it brought the character like Malta up to the Kelsingra, like how those plot pieces came together. It was really fun.
I wonder what's going to happen with the baby because, like, in my mind, none of these dragons are going to care enough to want to help the baby. Like,
somebody's got to do
not Rain nor Malta or one of their keepers, so.
Yeah, I also wonder if I have a feeling Tintaglia is going to show up in the next book.
Mm-hmm. I do too.
I mean, she better after this little glimpse here. But that's another thing. I definitely see her showing up and being like, "My children, or I raised you. You should respect me, and I'm in charge."
She's gonna be like, "Fix my wing."
Yeah.
But I think they're gonna go to Kelsingra because they were talking about the city, and I don't think in the book it was decided that they were going to start flying that way, but I feel like it was mentioned because that's what's going to happen.
What's the other dragon's name again? The black dragon from the ice?
Icefire.
Icefire. Wow.
With a Y.
Icefire. Like that whole thing, his feelings about human beings, that's going to cause an issue once they get there as well. It's just like, humans are going to kill us, so we might as well kill them all. Now, even
I have a prediction. So what if the two of them start flying towards Kelsingra because and then Centaura feels Selden, like can feel that he's in trouble and then saves him. Because right now she's saying that she can't like sense him at all, but maybe she's just too far away or something. And when
that's
she
what I think.
Flies over him, then maybe she'll sense that he's in trouble and help him.
He can't sense her either, and he said he hasn't for a while. And the two of them have been flying around all over the place having sex. So
where the eggs? Where's she gonna how long is the dragon pregnancy?
Maybe that's why they end up going to Kelsingra because maybe that's where she has to lay her eggs. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, they lay the eggs in the island, don't they? Like that's where the serpents hatch. Like I feel like I was like, okay, I wasn't sure if I was like gaslighting myself into like I was like, did I remember this correctly or not? But
Yeah, you said it in the last video that you think they lay the eggs on the island. I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure it was mentioned before because that's where the serpents.
But it is somewhere far south, and I mean, thinking far into the future, the next serpents are going to have a lot further to go to.
Maybe. I guess we'll find out.
Maybe also, the bird keepers. I found that storyline
How is there more drama
funny.
with birds?
So much.
Kim is so annoying. I hate him.
But
like
this another person.
We hate Cedric, we hate Hest. I'm like, I hate Kim.
But I think that's another person who's like under the thumb of the Duke of Calced and all the people he's sending out that are like threatening everybody's family and lives, basically. So like it's just a domino effect. And I'm sure he or someone, that person he sent a message to, like, is the one who put those. I forget what they said. It was like some kind of flea or something got into.
Wasn't he messaging Hest's dad? He was Hest's dad's little spy person.
Oh, I don't think I put that together. Because Hest's dad did know a lot of stuff. And yeah, so I didn't put that together, but that's really
I don't know if it's direct though.
And I'm pretty sure in one of the letters, like he was directly messaged Hest's dad, and he's like, oh, like just to remind you of what a benefit it would be to keep me around because I have all of these correspondences that I can use as blackmail. But then when Rain and Malta, when they departed from Kasaric, and Rain was saying how, oh yeah, I purchased some birds that the keeper of Kasaric promised that I can use to send letters and it will go directly to him. And I'm like, oh crap, those are Kim's birds. Yeah. I'm like, don't tell him anything. Don't send those letters.
Neither of your families will ever know anything about what happened to you.
Apparently, I wasn't paying enough attention to the bird.
Yeah, I feel like I
was paying more attention because, like, after not realizing that the Tozy was a woman, even after like we're gonna get married, I was like, okay, it's two guys getting married.
Like, I better pay closer attention.
So I was like, let me be conscious.
I love like the letters, like they seem like such innocuous little things, but then like it slowly starts to like weave into the actual story as well, and like you can have those kind of little pieces that you can connect together.
Yeah, I mean, I got to the point where I knew there was some spying going on, but I was clueless as to who was doing it, so
it was a little confusing, I feel like, but yeah, that was interesting. I'm so curious to see what happens because I feel like everybody is kind of converging on this city. So we've got, Hest heading there with his new assistant. And he wants to get Cedric back and his wife back. And I'm like, dude, I feel like those ships have sailed.
But
I love how he's like he doesn't like the new guy because he's like he's harder to manipulate
because he's just so dumb. Like, okay. But the new ships that the Jamalans invented, I'm like, I'm worried about that now because that's a whole game changer. That's gonna change their entire industry.
Yeah, it's true. I want to know how they did it.
Well, and will they work, or did they do something questionable is what I want to know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
also
like, what is this invention really?
Yeah. The politics around the Duke at the very end were so interesting, and I didn't really see that coming because we hadn't really heard too much about the Duke other than that he was sick. But to learn about his daughter, and I don't know if I believe the guy who was telling him that his daughter, I mean, I have no reason not to believe it, I guess, but
Oh yeah,
he wasn't convinced that his daughter was
skeptical.
trying to kill him. So like, that kind of came out of nowhere and was really interesting and has me like,
I was like, oh,
excited
she
for the
killed
next
all
book.
her husbands, and like,
Yeah.
okay.
But then here's this guy who's like, I know how she killed her other husbands and I still want to marry her. I'm just like, what?
I wonder if he is like, he's conspiring with her.
Yes, that's what I was wondering
maybe.
too.
Because like
Maybe.
they see how crappy this Duke is, and they're like, we gotta change.
He's gotta go.
Yeah, he's gotta go.
He's gotta
Oh my
go.
god,
But I bet the
this
wife still
Duke
kills
guy,
him.
this Duke guy is a piece of work, because he's like,
Seriously.
there's that scene where he's like, oh, I want this stuff to be there ready for me. And then he purposely sometimes he says he'll purposely make the other people rush him to get there before his stuff is ready. So then he has a reason to punish them. And I'm like, dude, get a life.
Yeah.
Yes,
He's
please.
terrible.
Like all he has.
and then his men were the ones trying to get that newborn baby for him to like eat
Ugh.
to heal him or whatever. Oh, we lost.
Oh no.
Foster. That's pretty awful.
Yeah, very awful.
Oh. Like waiting to see the thing pop back up. I'm like, did we lose you? Oh, there she is.
Oh,
Hey,
Sorry, I pressed something I shouldn't
welcome
have.
back.
that's okay. It happens.
But yeah, I mean,
I also
think
really-
everybody's happy with the Duke gone. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see how the Duke politics are in the next book and what ends up happening.
Yeah. Yep. It'll be interesting.
what else? What else? I feel like so
And-
much happened, but like
Yeah. I'm nervous.
Rain
though.
Wild.
I'm excited and nervous about the next book because Hobb never makes everything happy.
True.
So I'm like, how is she gonna like break my heart in this book?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Any predictions? I can't think of what she would do that would like hurt my soul.
I don't know. Like I kind of felt like I knew generally how things might go with this book, but I wasn't expecting Hess and the Duke and Selden and all these other people's point of views to pop up again, and Malta, and I was like, oh.
I'm okay. My prediction for like how it could be heartbreaking is names. I can't I'm so bad at names, y'all.
It's okay. Let's
Arlise's
let's work this out.
New man.
Leftrin.
Leftrin.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, don't say Leftrin will die.
I mean, that's
That's
kind
my
of
prediction. That's my prediction.
Why?
I think Leftrin dying would be probably my saddest reaction.
I kind of think I think he's
love
gonna
him.
die while taking Hest out. That's my prediction.
Hess?
That's a good one.
I can't.
While
think-
taking Hess out, or
Yeah.
one of the many people?
But
No, like
Arlise will be
trying to
pregnant
protect
first.
Arlise from Hest. While trying to protect Arlise from Hest, I think he's gonna die. That's my prediction.
But Elise will be pregnant.
That seems like
before
something
he
that Hobb would
dies.
do.
Pregnant?
While she's
So there
pregnant,
can-
she'll
so
go, yes.
Tarman will have an heir.
Yes, Arlise
Wow.
will be
Ooh.
pregnant, and he'll be protecting her, and then will die as a result. That's my prediction.
Hest is gonna get eaten by a dragon.
Yes. Ooh,
I
that's a
will
good
predict
prediction.
that.
100%. I have no doubt.
I've read enough Hobb books that I know the kinds of things she does, and I feel like that would be a very Hobb ending.
Very Hobb, yeah.
You know?
Mhm.
I predict that Rap School is gonna die. Like,
That's what I was
what
thinking.
if like Sky
Guys, don't do this
Icefire
to me.
is attacking, the other dinosaurs, or maybe attacking
Dinosaur.
Chimera?
Dinosaur.
You said dinosaurs again.
Oh,
That would be sad.
my god. There's gonna
I
be
mean, those
stuff
are-
with dinosaurs. That book.
Wait, Jade, did you not realize you said dinosaurs
No,
again?
I didn't.
That's why we're laughing so hard.
Because of my
It took me
dress?
a second.
No,
No, it's Liam. He's obsessed with dinosaurs and like wants to go on dino hunts, and he wants me to grab his dinosaur and chase him. And he also really likes dragons. A couple times he's asked me to run with a dragon. So yeah, in my mind they're interchangeable at the moment. They both start with D. I don't know.
They do. It's true.
I am very proud. I am very proud that my son at like 2.5, not quite 3 years old, knows the difference between a dragon and a dinosaur.
Yeah.
That's a fantasy mom win.
Yes, I love that.
Good job, fantasy mom.
I'm happy both of my children are obsessed with separate dragons book series.
Nice.
Oh, that's good. So
like my littler one is really into the Dragon Masters series, and then my older one is into Wings of Fire series.
Oh, I wanted to read those at some point.
They're really
I know
good.
nothing about either, so now I'm looking them both up on Storygraph.
Another thing is I thought it was so cute that Hennessy and Tillamon were like starting to get close.
Yeah, but like,
I'm like,
how did they fall in love so fast? Like, I feel like it was like 2 days.
I don't know, but I'm here for it because
young love.
Tillamon, she was like, I don't know how old she is. She's slightly older than Rain.
I think
but
so. Yeah.
How she's like so. She was resigned to never getting married because she looks so different, not like touched by the rain wilds and not in like a good way. Yeah. And then one thing that was funny was in the cast of characters list. We didn't really know much about Hennessy, but it describes him as something of a ladies' man. So I'm like, oh, that's kind of nice.
I didn't catch that. That's really funny.
I didn't catch that either, but I'm just happy that she's happy. It's like, girl, go take your veil off. Feel the breeze.
Yeah.
And I guess it makes a little more sense now why she fell so fast for him. Now that I know he was a ladies' man.
Like, he knows what he's doing.
And gotta snap him up, I guess.
Find a good one. Her little speech to Rain about like, of course I'm going with you, like a whole city of people like me. Like, I loved that speech. I'm excited for her and her future.
Yeah.
I know we already talked about Malta. Oh, sorry. I know we already talked about Malta, but her like birth scene when she was obviously having a very difficult time, she said something along the lines of like, I can do this because I have to do this. So that really stuck out to me and is like going to be a new favorite quote. I love that quote.
Yeah, like that.
The strength.
I mean, because it's true. Like when you're in a situation that you like, you just there's no way out of it. You have to do it.
No other option. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
Like the baby can take care of themselves, and she's clearly the only sane one in the room.
Yep.
And when she stabbed the guy in the neck with the knife, and then he pulled it out, and I was like, dude, you're an idiot.
I'm like, never pull out the knife. Do you not take a first aid class?
They clearly do not have first aid classes in Chelsea.
No.
That is a thing that stuck. They were like, if something is impaled, just, wrap gauze around it. Don't remove it.
Yeah.
So I guess it's like a knee-jerk reaction to the pain.
Yeah.
Like, you remove what's causing you pain, but
never pull.
Whatever, it worked out in Malta's favor. Since we're back in, where are they? Kasarik?
Mm-hmm.
That whole thing with Leftrin and the council was very cool. I liked how he and Arlise had a whole discussion and like she went over the contracts beforehand. So he had a plan going in, which before we knew that, I was just like, I don't know how this is going to work out, because obviously, like every book in this series and the live ship traders is like, it's all about contracts, all about money and traders are traders and whatnot. And I was just like, they definitely want this city. You know, they sent what's his name up there to try to get dragon parts and whatnot secretly, even though it wasn't included in the contract. So like that whole back and forth between him and the council, I really enjoyed that.
Yeah,
they're like, I like it because he's like, what are you talking about? That was not in the contract, and they're like, well, let's.
It was implied.
I'm confused. Yeah. Let me see. I think I saw on this page, if I remember correctly, all he needed was to pull out some glasses to
like change the definition of some of these words. We can make it mean what we want it to.
Yeah,
and that's not when they just like when they negotiate, they're so careful with their words. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I will tell you, you know, as soon as I receive my coin." And they're like, "But how can we know, like, you know, how can we pay you if you don't show us like what you have?" And I just love that back and forth.
Yeah. You were trying to get rid of these people. They're gotten rid of, and the dragons. Give me my money.
Mm-hmm.
That's all.
And I was laughing so hard when he was packing up to leave, and the council members come up and they're like, "It looks like you're leaving." And he's like, "I'm not leaving. I'm just getting ready."
Getting ready. I wouldn't leave without my money. And they're like, "Oh yeah, that makes sense."
Yeah.
And then he's like,
"You know what? Let's have a meeting 6 days from now."
Yeah.
I'm just like, he's setting up all these meetings for knowing he's gonna be gone.
Like straight up lying to their face. I loved it.
Great,
I felt a little bit bad for that woman, the leader of the council, because it seems clear that all the other members were like doing underhanded things. Various different things. They weren't like all in a group. There seems to be like 2 different factions going on. Behind her back, but like feel a little bad for her, but man, you gotta tidy your space. You're a leader, you gotta keep track of who you're leading and what they're doing.
She seems like the only honest one amongst them.
I mean, to an extent, she was all for, you know, let's get rid of these kids and these dragons.
Yeah, but she actually she's like, "Oh, okay, yeah, you're right about the contract. Okay, we'll revisit that." And then I like how like she was like in the meeting, how she's like the other counselors who were clearly like the bad guys and speaking out of turn, she actually like puts them in line.
Irritated. Then
like, that's not
in relation to that, these new Jamalan ships, like they're fast enough to keep up with the Tarman going upriver, and nobody was expecting that. So,
and then Rain was like, "What can you do something about it?" But then Lefterin is like, "You know, the river belongs to everybody. Like, if they can do it, then you can't really help it."
Yeah.
Like, you want me to just kill people now? You don't even know who's on that ship.
Yeah, but they got a live ship with legs, so they're gonna, I think, escape.
And a tail.
And a tail.
But
which I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that, because I'm like, I do want only them to be able to, you know, have Kelsingra. I don't want Kelsingra to be exploited, but at the same time, you can't really like gatekeep it. I don't know. I'm like, but I want them to.
I think what I liked was the conversation that was had with Arlise that, like, listen, we're not keeping it pristine. We're going to make it a living city for these dragons. And I thought that was really, and like, you are welcome to document that. But I thought that was a really interesting conversation. And I also think that's the thing is it's like, if the dragons, like now, because that's the thing too, is that the people in that town are still imagining the dragons as the sickly weaklings that they sent off. So like they don't know what they're in for.
Right.
And both of these, like the big town traders and the other town traders, they've all found these artifacts and ruins with no dragons really in them. A couple of eggs that they didn't realize, obviously, for years. But like these are active, alive dragons in a city that's it seems, better upkept than the other ones were.
It didn't sink, yeah.
So and bigger. So like this is not them just finding another thing town or.
But I think they're going after like weaklings who don't deserve to live in their minds anyway.
Yeah.
They don't know anything about, because they've kept it from them. They don't know what's happened with the dragons. They don't know that they can breathe poison. They don't know that they've gotten bigger, that they can fly, that they're dangerous. And so I think they're going to be taken by surprise. If the dragons take over that city, like they're not going to be able to exploit it.
Yeah.
But maybe Hess is on that Zamalian ship that can keep up with the Tarman, and then he'll get eaten by a dragon when he shows up.
Yeah.
Right behind
One can
them.
only
Like,
hope.
what is this? This must be.
It should be interesting to see where it
And I wonder Lestrin and how he's gonna feel about everybody being able to go over the river to the other side now without the Tarman.
Without the boat.
Yeah, and him, I guess. That's gonna go over.
Did anybody else
with it? He just wants to live with Elise.
Sure.
He does, but he was a little upset that she, was like allowed to fly over there. And
That's just because it's just Elise. It's just Elise.
Yeah, he just
but
wanted
she's gonna be all
to rely
over
on
there all the time now that the lights are on. So
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Did anybody else notice that the narrator for the audiobook changed how she pronounced the boat's name? So I feel like in previous books she called it the Tarman, like she said the last syllable really fast, and it was like M-U-N a little bit, Tarman. And in this one, she actually, I feel like, did it both ways, but sometimes she would say Tarman and like draw it out. And I was like, it just sounded so weird to me because in my head it's like Tarman.
Is it maybe as we are revealed how much of like a live ship he is and how connected he is to the dragons that we get?
Just
You're giving her too much credit.
I don't think she thought about it too much. I think she forgot how she used to pronounce it in the other books, but I swear she did it both ways in this book. But it just irked me every time she would say Tarman. I'm like, no, it's the Tarman. It's not the Tarman. Drive me nuts.
Unless she was saying it wrong all along and Hobb was finally like, hey.
Yeah.
Like knocking on the sound booth. It's Tarman.
It's Tarman, not Tarman. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. Well,
it was driving me crazy.
Should be
interesting.
Should be interesting. We'll see see how it finishes up next month. Well, this month.
I can't believe we're on the last book.
I
know.
I can't believe I'm on the last book. I'm just like, and I read this in 2 days. I mean, partially because the amazing readathon, but I was like, oh wow, 2 days. It helped that it's shorter than the others.
But yeah, it was like very
like a normal length fantasy book.
Yeah. Definitely my favorite so far. I'm excited to see how it all wraps up in the next one. I see all the like threads coming together, so I'm excited to see the story come together and how it all ends.
Like, and then in 2025, I want to finish Realm of the Elderlings with What's in the Pool.
Oh yeah, wait. So we said 2025 is when we're gonna do the last trilogy.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, because that's back to the Chonkers, and I'm like, you know what?
Yeah. You get a break.
I miss
because I don't know for sure, but I'm like, well, we'll see what happens. I was like maybe gonna try to do Game of Thrones later in the year.
Oh my god, you're taking on so many like big series.
Well, it's like it's a nice way to do it with read-alongs, where I can like helps push me through it. Eventually, I want.
But it also makes you commit. Like, what if you want to do an series?
Well,
have you ever read Game of Thrones?
I mean, that's why I don't pick it. What?
Have you read Game of Thrones before? This is your first time.
I've read like the first 2 books.
Okay.
A long time ago. But like at the time, I couldn't deal with some of the content, and I was like, I don't know about this because it was. But I feel like I'd be fine with it now.
Yeah.
And it was interesting.
I think I read all 4 of them. How long has it been since he's come out? Well, no, he has come out with some of the spin-off things. And anyways, I think I read all the ones that are out, but it's been so long that I don't even remember for sure.
I have not read a single one of them. I'm with Renee. I'm not reading until you finish it.
I support that.
I guess I'm never reading them.
Yep.
I tried. I think I made it a third of the way through the first book, and I put it down and never picked it back up again. I tried twice, and that happened again. And I was just like, I guess not. And the same thing happened with the TV show. Like
So I've never seen the TV show. I have watched the first season of the House of the Dragon, and I love it.
Oh, so
but
you're
I've
like,
never,
So I watched the first season like when it very first came out, like live week by week, and then I went and read all the books that were out, and then we've watched the show many times. Like almost every time a new season came out, we would start from the beginning and go all the way through. So we were big fans of the show.
Since it finished, have you rewatched it?
No.
Because that ending.
The ending was disappointing.
Yeah, that's what I hear. I mean, so I've never seen it, but I do like House of the Dragon's amazing. I watched the first season of that, and it's fantastic. So
yeah, I mean, most of the show is amazing, and it's just like, wow, this is so good. Like we would rewatch because it's one of those things where you'll pick up on more details when you rewatch it, especially because as you get to know like people and like their plot lines, you'll pick up on things earlier. So it's great for rewatching. But yeah, we did that for at least 4 or 5 seasons where we would start over from the very beginning and watch it all the way through. So we were very into the show, but I didn't read the books until after I'd already seen the first season of the show. So I was already kind of hooked or whatever.
Okay.
I also have not watched a single episode.
How? That blows my mind. It was so
I'm like,
prevalent.
I want to read the books first. But obviously I'm not reading the books anytime soon.
So you should just start watching the show. But then I don't know, you're gonna be disappointed.
So, yeah,
I saw
how that ending broke over the internet and people are now in real life.
I could see that being a deterrent.
It happened real time at work. You know, when people Monday morning they come into the office to talk about the newest.
It was like in the cultural zeitgeist. Everyone was talking about it. So I know about it.
Yeah.
But you have to remember too, like it was coming out when I was still like really conservative. So I was like, I'm not watching an HBO show with like nudity.
Long ago. I guess it was a long time ago now.
A long time ago.
I mean, it was a long time ago. Like, I mean, that's the thing.
It was, I think 2012
to come out.
Wow, really?
I think it was like 2012-ish, 2013. No, 20.
Before that, I mean, it started
2010.
Like, yeah,
we were babies.
Wow.
Yeah.
2011.
Yeah, like that's the year I got married, and then
you were busy, so
I was busy.
I don't have that excuse. I just wasn't that interested, and I could not get past the first episode, not even the full first episode.
The end of the first episode is what hooked us.
Well, not me. So.
All right. Well, unfortunately,
we gotta call it.
But we will be back in like a month to finish up the series, and we'll see how it goes. Thanks everyone for joining us.
Yeah.
Have a great night. We'll see you later.
Good night, everyone.